At first look, this appeared to be a fairly harmless Art Deco waterfall vanity. A friend sent us a picture, and we said sure, we'll take it. But we soon realized the surface wasn't wood. It was several heavy layers of paint. And boy, did we have a challenge ahead of us, with several more surprises along the way. Welcome to Montford Boulevard. We're a father-son duo with a passion for Art Deco furniture of the 1920s and 30s. Join us for another step-by-step restoration remake. You can find a link for our furniture store and also the products we use in the description below. One of the reasons we took this project on is that we've worked with this style of Art Deco vanity before, and it's really well built. This is another case where the original mirror was completely missing, so we opted to pull this apart. Very unfortunately, the Bakelite is missing from these handles, and they're in really rough shape, so we can't use these. That bottom drawer needs some work. First off, I'm going to tip this on its face, lay some cardboard down for protection. Look at the underside, you can see evidence of so many different paint jobs on this. It looks like somebody might have sprayed white, brushed white, all sorts of different colors. I'm going to use masking tape here, start out with the hand saw, and then after that I'll come in with the jigsaw. This is really the only way to get these things detached. Fairly simple. And if you look inside, check out that inlay wood. Somebody was just using extra scraps, whatever they had, to build the waterfall. Fortunately, this vanity came apart very easily. It's always nice when you don't have to really break these things up. Right away I can see the veneer is peeling off. Lay them out on a table here to get a better look. And look at how easily this paint comes off of here. That's how you can tell that whoever painted this didn't prep the surface, didn't sand it or clean it or anything like that. Paint should never come off that easily. And neon green! Can you believe it? Lifting up the veneer here, and I'm going to try to sneak some glue under there with this injector. These really only work for one use. You fill it with glue and squeeze it underneath, just like that. Now I've got some petroleum jelly I'm going to put on this board so that it doesn't stick to the glue when we clamp it. And I'll let that dry overnight with Titebond 2 wood glue. Meanwhile, I'm going to plug some of these gaps on the side. I'll have to come in, of course, with Bondo for some fine-tuning afterwards. And we're going to do a test strip on one of these drawer fronts just to see if this paint will come off. I'm using a chip brush to spread it out evenly. I'll then cover it in plastic and let it sit for probably 20-25 minutes. Coming back here, and I really wasn't sure this was so much paint. But the early indicators were showing that it will let go, which is very fortunate. This was after I thoroughly scraped it. And now I'm coming in with some odorless mineral spirits and steel wool to just get off some of that remaining paint. And really surprised at how that wood is looking. Look at how vibrant that is. Gonna just sand off the rest of that paint here, get it nice and smooth, and look at how clean that is. The sides were quite a mess as well, so I'll need to sand that off. But that is definitely workable. That's a solid drawer. Dovetail joints. Now I'm going to sand one of the other drawer faces, and look at this. Realize there was a wood filler used by the previous owner. They must have sanded this before and just gone right through the veneer at the edge. That's quite a big chunk missing. Now onto the top, and right away I could see it kind of bubbling up. Not too sure that's going to be savable, but we're going to try to get the paint off first, just to see. Same thing, I probably let this stripper sit for about 25 minutes or so. And here was the initial test, and that paint is really holding on, and I'm seeing signs that the veneer is water damaged as well. Not looking too good. But look at that white, green, and I just decided, you know what, this is too much of a mess, and right away started pulling the veneer off. See, when it comes off this easily, there's just no way of saving it. That was far too damaged. A little bit further along here, I'm sanding some of the remaining paint. And again, the form on this is just really solid, so a lot of work to get the paint off, but this is worth saving. Already starting to look a lot fresher here. And looking at the other one right away, same thing, I could tell that all of this veneer needs to come off. Look at that, it's almost like there's no adhesive. That's really a sign that some water has soaked in here, or drinks, or whatever happened to this piece. You never know. Really unbelievable that veneer would come off this easily. Still a good deal of work left. And even the insides of the drawers were coming up too, so I'm wondering if this thing sat in a damp garage or something like that. It didn't smell too bad, and the bottom of the drawer was very solid, which is fortunate, so we can still work with that. But even the insides here, see, we're gonna have to fill that with Bondo and sand it. There we go. Now we're going to use some gel stain. General Finishes is the brand that we usually go with, and Colonial Maple is one of our favorite colors. This drawer is taking it very well. Yeah, look at that beautiful grain. And we were still wondering if we should try to save this other drawer, testing out the stain on it. But ultimately we decided we're going to have to re-veneer the upper drawer fronts. This is shellac on the sides, both inside and outside of the drawers. Look at that beautiful wood. See, this was a really, really well-built vanity and worth saving. It's kind of unusual to see wood of this quality used on the insides of drawers. Continuing with the insides of the drawers here, and we're going to line the bottom with vinyl, but the rest of this looks really good. So what a mess working on the trim here. And you can just see so many layers of paint. I can see blue and green, and I was even seeing evidence of pink. Now I'm using vinegar and water to neutralize the stripper. And look at that, you can see some of the fake wood sort of lacquer veneer going horizontally. And you can see that green and blue and pink. I mean, who would do that to a piece of Art Deco furniture? Sanding the rest off here. The paint was really thick on the shoes here. Taking a look at the side here, and we still weren't sure if we could save this or not. The paint is kind of holding on there. That's where I glued it down at the beginning. And this was letting go pretty well, so we did think there was a possibility at this point still. But as I was sanding this, I came to realize that the veneer on the side was quite thin, and it was actually pretty badly damaged. Starting to look like something we can work with here. If these weren't so well built, I don't think we would have continued with this project. Taking a look at the other side now, this was the clean side that was not attached to the center of the vanity. And we were very pleased and surprised to see that the paint was coming off easily on this side. Not only that, the veneer underneath was in surprisingly good shape. There we go. And look at how clean that wood is. See, that is definitely worth saving. Some beautiful grain in there. And here's the vinyl that we're using to line the drawers in kind of a retro, almost like a color you would see in a vintage car. But this just really helps to freshen up these vintage pieces and make them more welcoming for current modern use. That'll need to be trimmed a little bit. Not a problem. And here are the handles we're going with. These are vintage Bakelite handles. The paint is chipping off a bit, so we're going to have to work on these. Now, the Bakelite is attached with sort of a rivet. See how that's punched on there? The only way we know to get that off is to grind it off. We're going to do that just so we can thoroughly polish this Bakelite and get it really clean. And then afterwards we use epoxy, 2-part epoxy, to put the Bakelite back into the handles. Pops out like that. And today we're actually using a bronze color instead of gold, which is closer to the original color that was starting to peel off. Looking at the trim now, I've painted it black. And I'm going to come back in with some semi-gloss lacquer. Feels so much better already. Now we're adding some gold accents. Unmasking here, and we'll get a nice early look at how the face of this nightstand is going to turn out. Starting to look pretty sharp. And the top here, we were wondering if it should be natural or gold, and ultimately we went with gold on that. But next we're going to work on the drawer faces for the upper drawers, and we're going to redo the veneer on them. This is a new product that we tried out. It is 3M brand, and we found their products to be pretty reliable. This is a peel and stick, just ready to go. We were a little hesitant, but we're very pleased with the results when we used this product. We're mimicking the way the original veneer was, in that sort of V-shaped pattern and a seam down the middle. And even though that adhesive is ready to go, an iron will help it to be reactivated and to stick even better. And we have this at a medium-high heat. Haven't burnt the veneer yet, and it seems to work out just fine. But look at how clean that looks. We're using some of that colonial maple now on the drawer fronts. And this veneer takes the stain really well, also. And it really didn't take much to get these drawer fronts looking good again. So these are genuine inlay strips that we like to use. Each segment of wood is separate. Intricate little design there, just to make the natural colors a little bit more vibrant. Look at how that pops. And we've got a thinner one here too. There were some spaces on the faces of these nightstands that could use just a little bit more of an Art Deco punch. Found you can get these delivered pretty much overnight on Amazon. While we were working on this, we were surprised with a snowstorm. Very rare occurrence here in Georgia. Kind of savoring it. And look at the footprints. Wondering if that's Katniss, the local cat who stops by to visit us once in a while. Does anybody know? Are those cat footprints? Back to work. Look at that inlay wood bringing this thing to life already. And we did decide to go with gold on this top trim here. I'm going to polish it just a bit with some French lacquer, some lac French. It dries very quickly. It's a handy product just to get a base down. And just a few minutes later, I'm coming back with some gold aerosol, lacquer based as well. Look at how that continues from the face across the top. Just giving it a little bit of extra elegance there. I am now using a water-based triple thick polyurethane, and this is right directly on the substrate. The veneer is going to go right over top of this, and the polyurethane is going to provide a better surface actually for the veneer to stick to. So here we go. I've positioned the veneer right where I want it, and I made a cut in the middle. And I'm going to start from the midpoint and very slowly take the backing off as I stick it on here. Again, we were very pleased with how well this adhesive seems to grip. But I want to slowly make sure I don't have any air pockets or bubbles or anything. Just got a plastic squeegee here. We'll definitely be using this veneer again. Just like that. I had just a slight bit to trim off the edge there, but this was pretty close to what we wanted. Now I'm going to do the back half of it. This is the easy part, as long as you lined it up from the get-go. Just like that. And this is a nice thick veneer as well. Back in with the iron to reactivate that glue. This is white oak. This is probably the easiest form of veneer that we've worked with. We've also done it with wood glue before, but this was so handy we'll definitely use it again. We've stained it now, and you can see how well it takes stain also. Very pleased with these results. And we were actually using a nutmeg color by General Finishes here, and I think that was the right choice. So this is trim that we cut for the bottom. It's going to help cover up some of that damage and also just make a nice black frame. That'll go on at the very end though. Here's a look at that bottom drawer, if you remember from the beginning. That was kind of loose, swinging back and forth. But that was a really simple fix. We just cut a new drawer track. That'll be attached just like that. And here's the track that was already attached to the drawer. So these were the bad sides, and they were almost fixable, but the more you sand it, the more the veneer kind of splinters up. And ultimately, we just decided to veneer over top of it. You can see how we kind of oversprayed with the black. That's going to give us a little bit of a margin, just in case we cut the veneer a little bit short. But here are those sides with veneer, and this was really quick and easy to get it on. Same method as before. Going over it with the iron. We don't have the iron turned up as hot as it'll go, but it is pretty high. Some people use a cloth to protect the veneer, but we haven't found that to be necessary. And same as the top, this really takes stain well and just looks so fresh and new. There you go. So this is a custom couple of backsplashes we cut for the top. Left that lighter pattern in there, and we're going to position it in kind of like a book-matched effect to mirror one another. Now we're going to drill, pre-drill. We're going to glue and screw these backsplashes to the top. Fill and Bondo those holes, of course. And sacrilege, I know, sanding cross grain, preparing for glue. We really want to make sure these backsplashes never come off. This is the best way to make sure that your glue adheres. So this is a new product we've heard good things about, oil-based polyurethane by Varathane, and we're going to coat the sides and the top with this. Doesn't dry as fast as the water-based, of course, but it should give a really durable finish. After that polyurethane has dried, we're going to add the trim, pin it on with the nailer. We'll then fill those holes with black wax, adding some final details to the shoes, and we're getting a glimpse at some of the final details here. Look at this thing coming back to life. And with that, she's ready for her close-up. Looking back at everything we had to go through here, and this was a tougher project than we normally take on. But this really is one of our favorite Art Deco body styles for vanities to be turned into nightstands. Had we known that this was painted, we might not have taken this project on, but in the end, we were really glad that we did. Thanks so much for stopping by, for subscribing, and for supporting our channel. Check the description below for a link to our furniture store and also the products that we used. If you enjoyed this video, here are a couple more you might like. You're welcome back here at Montford Boulevard anytime.